Alright, welcome back to the channel. This is my Mk1 GLI. I have my VR6 sitting right there. This is a 16 valve. Finally going through and doing some stuff on the swap. It's been a long time since I really touched this motor. Went through some pretty good stuff and kind of didn't want to look at it. But now everything's good. We're moving right along. So I'm gonna start doing some more videos on it as I track the progress. I'm not gonna do everything, you know, point to point, all that, but we'll track some of the progress and maybe it helps somebody out if they're doing this swap. There's a ton of info out there already. I have a pretty plug and play swap. I sent my harness out to Dave Wright at TDC shop. He did a really bang up job on that harness. I can't wait to actually have it in the car and using it. I'm also doing the Eurowise kit. I did the stage 2 package from them. So yeah, I'm very excited to get it in there and see what this thing does. I gotta still pick up a radiator, probably gonna go to S&P for that. We'll see how it goes. But my last video, I did some stuff on the VR. Haven't really touched it since then, up until about last week. So I finished that. I'll walk you through some of the stuff I did on there. The only thing I have left is to mount the transmission to the actual engine before I put it in. Other than that, she's pretty much ready to go. Gonna do the exhaust studs, and that's pretty much it. So running it without power steering or AC, so it should be pretty decent there. No different than this. This wasn't running power steering or AC as well. But yeah, I'm gonna move right along. I'll kind of walk you through some of the stuff I'm doing, some just good tips if you've never taken an engine out of a car before or anything like that. I'll kind of walk you through some points and just show you some things that you might want to keep in your head for if you're ever removing an engine, and then we'll walk through a bit of the installation process on the VR, but that'll be for another episode. Today we're just going to walk through that, walk through the VR and see what happens. So hope you find some value in this video. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm super excited to have this car ready and driving, and can't wait to get the track days and do all that stuff. I really miss that stuff, so it's time to do it. But yeah, appreciate you watching, and let's get going. Alrighty, so this is the engine bay of the Mk1. The 16 valves up there, of course. I just wanted to go over some real quick things that is a good idea. So anytime you're removing an engine, first thing I like to do is get any of the cooling stuff out of the way and also drain the oil. So I've already done that stuff, but right here there would definitely be a radiator, obviously, and drain the oil. Left the oil filter on because that's really not going to be of any hindrance. The next thing you want to do is once you start breaking stuff down, got the radiator out, got a few odds and ends, got the intake, stuff like that. When you start removing stuff, it's a good thing to make these tags. It's a really simple thing. So take a piece of tape and just kind of like make a tail and tape it up. So right here I have the alternator wire, just so I know where some of this stuff goes. I got all sorts of different plugs and some stuff like that, certain triggers and sensors and whatnot. This car was previously swapped when I got it, so I didn't do it. I'm not really sure what's going on here. There's a lot of the old harness and stuff left over that I'm gonna have to go through and kind of decipher a little bit, but as I said, with the harness swap that I did get for the VR6, after sending it out to Dave, it came back pretty simple, so it shouldn't be very hard to set up. So the next things that I'm gonna go ahead and tackle are gonna be removing the axles, or at least getting them removed from the engine. I'm also going to remove the shift linkage and any sort of fuel that's going to the car or to the engine, and that should be it. I'm also going to go ahead and take these banjo bolts out on the CIS unit, get those fuel lines off so I can take that whole air box out and move right along, and hopefully things go smoothly. All the miles and the risks that we take, we on the road and we on the sky. On the edge, we're so alive. Alrighty, so real quick, just gonna talk about the axle. It's a service that a lot of people come across. So also something you need to do when you remove the engines, unless you drop the engine out through the bottom using the whole subframe, then that's a different story. But anyways, so this is the driver's side axle, just pulled it out. Went pretty well, has Allen bolts here. Also has a 30mm axle nut. Here's the spindle. This will go into the wheel hub assembly with the wheel bearing caliper, all that stuff. 30mm nut on the end. So I went in there, pulled this out. Pretty easy to get to. It's pretty clean in here. Not a very good sign. So there was a lot of gearbox oil inside my axle assembly. So not very good. I went ahead and pulled this off. When I did, it dumped damn near my whole gearbox out, but it went smoothly. I'm gonna go ahead and rebuild this. I have experience doing that. It seems fine. There's not a lot of wear. There's a little bit of discoloration around the outside. You can see like a bluish tint, but other than that, it's running pretty good. So I'll go ahead and rebuild this, pack it with some grease, put new boots on it, so I have a spare 16 valve axle. Used to do that a lot when I was working on air cooleds, so we should be fine there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the passenger side. Hopefully it's pretty similar, and then we'll go from there.
Giving up on time, but I'm not giving up, giving up.
Alrighty, so I ended up pulling out the passenger side, pretty much the same thing, still a 30mm nut on the end, got that wash on the end cap. Splines look pretty good, boots alright on the outside. The inside, however, was so dry rotted I was able to stick my finger right through it, and that was not good. If I turn around here, you'll see that there's a bit more grease in here, which is a good thing. This seal on this side is looking pretty good, so that makes me happy. But I'll go ahead and rebuild this one too. So I have it binds a little bit, so we'll see how the balls look inside there, if they're all chewed up and if there's metal shavings inside the grease. But other than that, should be okay. The other weird thing was the inside the bolts here. They were actually triple squares, which was kind of interesting. I didn't really expect that. I would expect that on a newer car, but I imagine at one point this had been changed. Not by me, but yeah, nonetheless, we'll get that fixed up, and then we'll have a spare axle as well for the passenger side. Alright, so next up, we're going to come to the top of the engine here. I'm going to try and break down these lines, take these banjo fittings off, get these lines out of the way, get them tucked on top of the motor in some way. The main objective here is to really just gain access to all the mounts that mount the engine to the car. I'm not really going to get too fancy. I'm going to have to disconnect the exhaust, the linkage yet, and the CIS like I talked about earlier in the intro. But other than that, we should be pretty decent, other than like the odds and ends of like a few vacuum lines or some, coolant lines that run into the firewall or something like that. So we'll go ahead and start with the CIS. We'll move on to the linkages. We'll do some stuff with the exhaust, and we'll try and get this engine out here tonight. Just took out the CIS unit. That was a bit of a pain in the ass. Let me just first start off by saying that there was tons of rust, tons of fuel, obviously, and then the banjo fittings in general are just a pain in the ass. The airbox in the CIS unit isn't mounted in there like amazingly anyways to begin with, so trying to break fasteners loose is pretty difficult, but it's out and never have to worry about it again. And yeah, now there's other odds and ends that are going on. So down here we took off the ground strap. We have the speedo cable that was taken out. Clutch cable was taken out. I have all that stuff laying off to the side as best as I can. Took out some vacuum lines, undid some wires and connections to the coil on the back there. Also doing a heater line back here. I'm gonna see if I can run this on my VR6 as well. This is like a heater core bypass valve that hopefully I can retro to the VR6, which would be really nice, because I like to keep heat in the car if I can. Helps with driving it for longer throughout the year and also getting rid of frost on windshields and all that stuff. So we'll see if we can swap that. And then yeah, we'll continue on. We're gonna do some exhaust stuff. Also gonna do some linkage stuff. I'm gonna do some gearbox stuff, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so this is gonna be the end of the video because I got down to the linkage and the exhaust left. It's besides the mounts, and I'm just kind of struggling with thinking what I'm gonna do here with the exhaust. I also have to go into the interior, and I'm absolutely filthy, and I don't want to get it dirty. So I'm gonna have to go in and do some stuff with the shift box, and then we'll go from there. But I figured I'd end the video now. I'm gonna try and continue this series as regularly as I can. I want the car to be finished as soon as I can too, so I'm kind of balancing that how much I want to film and versus how much I just want to be very productive and get it done as quick as possible. But I hope you liked this video, enjoyed it, find some sort of entertainment out of it, whether it's funny or serious or whatever it may be. I don't really give a shit. But yeah, if you found something that maybe helps you with your build too, that'd be really cool. And if you're building a Mk1 yourself, let me know. Send a comment, send a message. You know, if you have any questions on this or any of the parts I got or any of that stuff, I'd be happy to let you know. Torque specs, all that good stuff. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.